So let's take a quick look into the value side of things. First, as a question, so what is the euro potential of your AI portfolio at the moment? Are you able to answer to this kind of question? What is the planned time frame to realize this value potential? Is this already in a defined way in the plans with the leadership team or with the business areas? I think this is a question that surfaces many insights on your own maturity at the moment related to AI. But take this as a question and consider it that how well are you able to answer it today, and thus how credible your approach at the moment is from the leadership perspective. Then what is value? What value are we talking about? It's quite a vague term, and it's been used quite loosely in many discussions. So we use this kind of simplification of framing this into 3 value buckets: productivity, cost savings, and new revenue. What we are at the moment seeing in many companies is that the cost saving part is maybe the primary objective in many cases via the productivity gains from AI, and that's also part of maybe the hype that the AI hype is building, that there will be a huge productivity leaps and thus cost savings in the operations. Maybe some like root causes for this can come from many AI initiatives and even AI programs being set up under the CFO office. Not saying anything bad about the CFO office, but just like the nature of that kind of setup might easily lead to focusing on the cost saving side of things. When we are discussing about whether AI is hype or not and where does it actually materialize the value potential, then the new revenue should be in the eyes of the leaders and the people driving those AI transformation programs. Unfortunately, quite often this is not the case, but that this is our guidance, that keep these 3 buckets in your mind and focus each of them. Of course, another view comes from the expected value side of things. So when it's clear that what value you are actually seeking, then you can start to also consider that what is the expected value, and that comes from where you are in your own maturity in the transformation journey. Are you focusing on upskilling people, or is it more on the like actually transforming the business operations or business processes? And when are you actually starting to address the operating model itself? So this quite often defines the expected value depending where you are. So the definition evolves as your maturity evolves. Few concrete examples how this has happened in practice. So in the early 23, we worked with the global stainless steel manufacturer Outokumpu and helped them to set up the AI function to the company. And it was the really early phases of Gen AI and when this hype started. So in that initiative, the very first phase was by decision focusing on showcases. So the expected value was to just show and prove that we can do this. We are on top of things. We can start to actually use this new technology for us in a way that it makes sense for us. And then it started to evolve from there. But I think that was a good example as a like good first step might be on showcases, that is the expected value the company want to see. The second one is then on the portfolio potential level, where I started this section of value. So what is the total euro potential of the AI portfolio? So this is another example close to what Niklas was also framing in his right approach selection, that we've been working with this one manufacturing company and helping them to build this kind of credible value portfolio of hundreds of millions in value potential, and then now created a working funnels to actually start to realize that potential, and the active funnel is now worth of like tens of millions. And Tero will a bit like tell us more about the structures, how to set up such. Moving even further, the controller proven value is then something that we've been helping this one global process industry company to actually build a entirely new development model and do it in a way that the value is controller proven. The numbers make sense. All right. I thought that I can like briefly show the elements of such, not going into the actual practicalities because it's not plug and play, it's always company context. But some the elements are here, and as you are like looking at these elements, you can already start to see that sounds quite familiar, and that's the case. And the main thing in here is that how do you connect the dots? And for connecting those dots, I will share a few observations from the discussions that we are having with different companies. So first, all companies, all business unit leadership teams know their targets. That exists always. But for some mysterious reasons, when you go in the same company to a individual development project or development initiative, the story might not be the same. What has happened? Why has that clear target been lost in the translations, in the handovers and so forth? So just securing this part, it's trivial to say this, but it's hard work to do in practice. But just highlighting this old truth that ensure that the development teams are actually connected to the targets that the leadership teams have set. Whether it's on annual plans and being more incremental, or whether it's been on a strategic timeline and then more strategic in nature. Another observation is that the discussions whenever there is a new solution being envisioned, that what do we already have for this vision? Where do we start? What can we utilize from the existing, and what is missing that needs to be built? And then should we make or buy it ourselves? Or make it ourselves or buy it outside? So connecting the dots with whether it's an AI function or capability team or whatever the chosen approach in your company is, this is also, sounds trivial, but happens rarely. Truly. Assessing what do we have, what do we need to make this vision reality, and then start to act on it. And the third element is then on the outcome roadmaps. So the technical teams and the development experts on that level, they know how to build release roadmaps. They know the technology. That's not the issue. What is being put into the production and what kind of new behavior is unlocked is rarely discussed and defined as a target. So two simple questions in setting the targets and also steering the progress that are now defined in the screen. So once we have the first version of the solution in live, are we truly seeing the behavior that we assume that it will trigger? Yes or no? Simple question and simple answer. Is that behavior that we intended actually happening? If yes, then you can move on to the second question. When that behavior is actually happening, do we see the value being realized that we intended? Yes or no? Simple. If no, back to the drawing board. If yes, you are on a solid track when you've been able to connect also the dots from the beginning. This is the recipe for actually being able to measure and show in control proven way the value out of your initiatives. What is truly the impact? With that, I will leave you with the one final question related to value. What if you set up your AI program as a profit unit? That is a powerful question that might surface many insights in your organization and how you've been set up your initiatives at the moment.